Hello, my name is Catalina Gallo, and today's presentation will be on technology and standards. Today's healthcare has a variety of care settings and different information systems in the delivery of care. Standards are employed by healthcare information systems to help achieve interoperability, portability, and data exchange. Standards provide common language and implemented to facilitate collaboration among different healthcare information systems. Standards are needed to ensure quality, safety, and efficiency, help to improve the delivery and overall coordination of healthcare. Standards are essential in the production of electronic resources to help facilitate data interchange and how to represent and manage information. Standards assist in the sharing of public health information and in moving information within and beyond the four walls of healthcare organizations among all healthcare stakeholders. Standards are divided into four main categories: classification, vocabulary and terminology, data interchange, and health record content and functional standards. Classification standards in healthcare information include ICD-10, current procedural terminology, diagnosis-related groups. ICD-10 and CPT were developed to identify diseases and procedure information, but now are being used for coding and billing purposes. ICD-10 is used to diagnose health-related issues and diseases and is available in 43 languages, which means it is easier to communicate with doctors from other countries when the ICD-10 diagnoses and codes mean the same in different countries. The code sets are set by HCPCS, CPT-4, CDT, ICD-10, and NDC. Vocabulary and terminology standards are created to have a common language to allow different information systems to communicate with one another. A standard vocabulary is used in the healthcare field, but to this day, no single vocabulary has been created to meet all the healthcare information needs. The National Committee on Vital and Health Statistics recommends the standards for patient medical record information. The standards important to healthcare sector include Health Level 7 standards, Digital Imaging and Communications in Medicine, National Council for Prescription Drug Programs, and ANSI standards. The health record content and functional standards include HL7 HER as Electronic Health Record System Functional Model, which we will speak about later, the ASTM Health Record Content Standards, the Continuity of Care Document, and the HCTC EHR certification criteria. The HL7 functional model outlines important features and functions that should be in the electronic health record. The ASTM health record works with consensus standards and how they relate to maintenance and transfer of patient information. Continuity of Care Document is the standard for electronic change of patient summary information. There are four methods used to establish healthcare IT standards. Ad hoc is a group of interested people or organizations that agree on a certain specification without any formal adoption process. The specifications are informal and mutually agreed on by participating groups. De facto is when a vendor or other commercial enterprise controls such a large amount of the market that the product the vendor has become the market standard. Government mandated standards that the healthcare industry adopts because government mandates it. Consensus is when representatives from various interested groups come together to reach a formal agreement on specifications. There are various organizations responsible for formal standard development. The first one is the International Organization for Standardization. Members bring together experts to share knowledge and develop voluntary consensus-based international standards that support innovation and provide solutions to global challenges. IOS also oversees the flow of documentation and international approval of standards. The next one is the American National Standards Institute. It empowers members and constituents to strengthen the United States marketplace while ensuring safety and health of consumers and protections of the environment. It also oversees creation and use of guidelines and norms in nearly every sector and accredits organizations in their competence of determining conformance to standards. The last one is the Standards Development Organization. It works to formulate health and safety standards. It has to be accredited by the ANSI and develop standards in accordance with ANSI criteria. Independent SDOs attract thousands of volunteers experts to serve on standards drafting committees because of their credibility and reach. The Health Level 7 International is an ANSI accredited standards development organization that was founded as an ad hoc group. It was founded in 1987 as a non-for-profit to produce a standard for the exchange of data with hospital information systems. Health Level 7 International is one of several ANSI accredited standard developing organizations in the healthcare area. It specializes in clinical and administrative data and enables interoperability of healthcare information. It is the highest level of the international organization for standardization. HL7 adopted strategies to develop specifications for making healthcare systems interoperable. It developed coherent, extendable standards and a formal methodology, and it collaborates with healthcare information users and other standards development organizations, while promoting the use of HL7 standards worldwide. It also educates the healthcare industry and policymakers. The purpose of HL7 is to facilitate communication in healthcare environments. It provides standards that eliminate or reduce custom interference programming and program maintenance that might otherwise be required. It was founded with the purpose of developing a messaging standard to support exchange, management, and integration of data that supports clinical patient care. Over time, the purpose has expanded to include system integration and interoperability, tools and building blocks used to build the standards, messaging and document standards, and electronic health record functional models and profiles. The vision of HL7, according to its website, is a world in which everyone can securely access and use the right health data when and where they need it, and its mission is to provide standards that empower global health data interoperability. HL7 also collaborates with other standard development organizations and national and international sanctioning bodies to promote the use of supportive and compatible standards. It collaborates with other users to ensure that the standards meet real-world requirements, and the development efforts that are initiated also meet emerging requirements. The HL7 management is managed by a board of directors that include elected and appointed positions. There is also a chief executive officer and a chief technology officer. The healthcare industry is way too diverse, so there is only a limited number of elected members on the board of directors. The board asks specific individuals to participate in the advisory council. In the advisory council, the positions are only 2 years and are non-renewing seats. Their input is very critical in helping boards make decisions, and they are chosen based on personal experience, their background, ability to listen to the views of others, and their strategic advice. HL7 members are volunteers that gather all around the world in quarterly meetings. They produce and refine documentation that describes how clinical information will be shared between healthcare applications in a provider setting. There are more than 1,600 members in over 50 countries, including more than 500 corporate members representing healthcare providers, government stakeholders, payers, vendors, suppliers, consulting firms, and pharmaceutical companies. There are more than 30 HL7 affiliates around the globe. HL7 members can become educated on the healthcare standards being implemented, understand the direction in which the healthcare standards are being headed, collaborate with peers in the healthcare standards community, and shape direction of healthcare standards being created by directly participating in the committee meetings. Anyone can be available to be an HL7 member if they are interested in cost-effective development to system connectivity. The HL7 meetings provide members with in-person networking and educational opportunities covering a full range of specific topics and general industry topics. They are made up of work groups that are responsible for defining the standard protocols. Each group is chaired by 2 or more co-chairs and organized into functional groups called steering divisions. There are 3 working groups meetings per year, and it allows the members to work on the standards. They hold 3 FHIR institutes and meaningful use implementation workshop in which certification testing is offered, and it also offers educational webinars and on-site and virtual classroom training. The group meetings also offer face-to-face meetings where everyone can conduct administrative work and a chance to meet face-to-face to work on standards. The most effective way to facilitate the development of cost-effective interoperable standards is to have different types of standards. HL7 has 7 different types of standards, which include primary, foundational, clinical and administrative, EHR profiles, implementation guides, rules and reference, education and awareness. HL7 assists in using genomic data in conjunction with other clinical information. They also assist in the sharing of public health information, and they enable electronic health record and creation of the National Health Information Network. The primary standard is the most popular standard integral for system integration, interoperability, and compliance, including the V2 and V3 version, which we will see later. The foundational standards state the fundamental tools used to build the standards. Implementation guides are documents that are created to be used with existing standards. Rules and references are technical specifications, programming structures, and guidelines for software and standards development. HL7 standard is an ANSI approved, and it can be submitted for approval by the International Organization for Standardization, or IOS for short. The process of approval is the approval of project through PMO, ISO battling procedure flow diagram, ISO ballot stages, and detailed procedures for taking HL7 standards through the ISO ballot process. There have been 2 versions of the HL7 standard. The V2 was created to provide a framework in which data could be exchanged between different clinical systems, and it provides 80% of interface framework and 20% interface by interface basis. The HL7 V3 was released in late 2005, but has not been widely adopted because of its non-compatibility with V2. It was created to address specific challenges in the HL7 V2, and its goal was to increase worldwide adoption of standard and create more precise standard. Here you can see the HL7 V2 series is a primary data interchange standard for clinical messaging and adopted in 90% of large hospitals. Here you can see an HL7 V3 messaging standard, which incorporates root elements of XML. The first row has the location of the facility, the data, time, and UTC code of the message. Here you can see it was in the XYZ hospital, the date and the time. This was on May 29th of 2006 at 9:01 in the morning. The next line is the EVN message code, which stands for event type. The next line is the PID, which stands for the patient identifier, which is the number. Then the PI, which is a patient identification key point, which include Klein as his last name, Barry as a first name, Jr., his date of birth, he's a male, and his race. Here there's more information like his address. Here you can see his body height, his body weight. AL1 stands for patient allergy information, which means he's allergic for aspirin. And then the diagnosis, DG1 stands for diagnosis, which is chest pain unspecified. This was an example during ICD-9 coding because this chest pain is now a different diagnosis in ICD-10. That is my presentation on technology and standard, and more information about the Health Level 7 International. Thank you.